What's up guys, it's your girl Brianna aka Mini Marley, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I got the makeup look from my last video, the natural hair twist out tutorial. So you guys really loved that look and wanted me to recreate it, so I'm doing that for you today. So I just went ahead and primed my face using the Mercier Radiance Bronze Primer, and I really love that primer during the colder month because it just gives you a nice inner glow when it's really dry outside. So for my brows, I'm using the same thing that I always use. This is the Stila Mind Palette, and I'm taking the brown shade Creativity and using that to fill in my brows very lightly, and then I'm going through them with a spoolie to make sure that there are no harsh lines. Now, I don't like to get my brows threaded or waxed anymore. I just groom them at home by plucking them with some tweezers. So that's just what I'm doing right now, plucking any extra hairs that fall outside of the area that I filled in earlier. Once that's done, I'm taking my concealer. This is the MAC Studio Finish Concealer in NC45. And I'm just using that to outline my brows and make sure that they look nice and crisp and fleeky.
Interplanetary West where everybody driving Lamborghinis made the genie dusters. Who you think you kidding? I've been headed for success since I was just a kid.
So once that's set, I'm just going to go in with my Anastasia brow gel in the color Clear, and I'm just going to run this through my brows and set them and make sure that they are nice and laid just the way I like them, and this is my final look. So now let's move on to the eyes. I'm just using my same MAC Studio Finish Concealer as my primer or a base for my eyelids, and this is just going to help me have an even layer for my eyeshadow. And I'm just going ahead and smoothing it out with this flat MAC brush. And now it's time for the shadow. So I'm using the Morphe 35W palette, which I have been absolutely in love with lately. I've been pretty much using this for all of my eyeshadow looks. It just sits on my vanity and it's the perfect go-to palette. And I'm just using this shade. It's a nice kind of orangish brown color, and I'm putting that in my crease for a nice transition. Then I'm gonna go take the lightest shade, it's almost a white color, and I'm gonna highlight my brow today. I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna do it for this look, and I'm just going back in with that transition color and buffing that out a little bit. Now I'm going to go into this brown shade with my MAC pencil brush, and I'm just taking that in my crease just to add a little bit of depth and definition. Make sure that you go in with a fluffy blending brush like I'm doing here to just continue to blend as you build these colors. Now I'm going back into that Stila Mind palette, and I'm taking this orange shade and I'm packing it all over my lid. I have been loving this orange shade. I don't know why, but orange is just doing it for me lately. So I'm just packing that color on, and I'm just using my blending brush to continue to blend out the edges. Now I'm going to go into this gold color, and I'm just spraying that with some of my e.l.f. setting spray just to make this color really pop, because it is a metallic shade. So I'm just going to put this all over my lid on top of where I put the orange color. So I just used that orange for a nice base so that I can kind of peek through that gold, and I just packed that gold on my lid using a little bit of setting spray to make it pop. And now I'm just going into this lighter gold color and putting that all in the inner corner of my eye for a nice inner corner highlight, and that's pretty much the eye look. To get rid of any fallout from my eyeshadow, I'm just using this wipe to go ahead and wipe under my eyes, and then I'm going into this Morphe concealer palette, and I'm taking the more orange shades and I'm using that to color correct and conceal all of the dark marks on my face. So as you'll see, I'm just using my finger to blend that out on the dark areas of my face just to get rid of that darkness and even out the color.
Even as a rugrat, I had to have it my way. I was Tommy Pickles looking for.
So I'm just going in with my beauty blender and making sure that I pick up any extra concealer, and now it's time for foundation. I ran out of my regular MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation, so I'm just using a little bit of a darker color in the MAC Studio Fix Fluid and a little bit of my L'Oreal True Match Foundation. And I'm just mixing those together to get somewhat of my shade. I know that this color is light, don't kill me guys. I'm gonna make it work as you'll see in this video, so just bear with me because I know it looks a little bit crazy right now, but yeah, like I said, with my contour and everything, I will be able to make this shade work.
Just create a world from interplanetary West where everybody driving Lamborghinis made the genie dusters.
So to highlight under the eyes, I'm just going in with my NARS Creamy Concealer, and I'm just putting that under my eyes, right down my nose, on my forehead, and on my chin, and then I'm going to use a Morphe brush to go ahead and blend that out.
Yeah, I never stop playing with the hot wheels, yeah. I never stop playing with them. Oh, yes, it's all that. Yes, it's all that. That's right, I think I'm all that.
Now that I've blended out my highlight, I'm just going in with the Benai banana powder, and I'm just using that to set my highlight. And as you can see, I'm really just pressing that powder in instead of leaving it to bake like I usually do. Now for my contour, I'm bringing out my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, which I haven't used in a while, and I'm just using this angled brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pat that on and contour my face. Now I'm just taking my L'Oreal True Match powder, which is pretty much what I use for my all over face powder, and I'm just using that to blend out my highlight and contour and make sure that everything is seamless. And then I'm going to go into my CoverGirl Queen bronzer, and I'm just going to bronze up my face a little bit. I really love this bronzer, and I'm just making sure that everything is seamless and my foundation no longer looks white and ghostly. So then I'm just going to set my face using my e.l.f. setting spray, and as you can see, I really was able to make that foundation work, and everything is looking bomb. So I'm just going back into that gold color and touching up my eyeshadow, and then I'm going to go into my Maybelline gel eyeliner and go ahead and give myself a fierce wing. And I did a horrible job of showing this on camera, but yeah, once you're done creating your wing, you can also go in with some concealer to really sharpen up that line. Not everybody makes a perfect wing on the first try, and I definitely don't. So I like to use concealer to just sharpen that edge up. Now I'm just gonna go in and work on my bottom lash line. I didn't really show this, but I just used all the colors that I used on my lid. I used the crease color, I used the golds, and I just went ahead and smoked out the bottom lash line and added some mascara.
I never stop playing with them.
So the last thing that I'm going to do to really finish off the eyes is add some lashes, and these are by Ardell.
As a rugrat, I had to have it my way. I was Tommy Pickles looking for a Patty Mayonnaise. Even though I know her show would only come on Fridays, I took her from that funny boy and brought her back to...
In order to hide that lash band, I just went over it with some liquid eyeliner, and now I'm going in with my blush, and this is by the brand Black Radiance, and I'm just using the color Toasted Almond to give myself some nice blushy cheeks. And it's time for the highlighter. So I'm using my favorite highlighter by Topshop, and I'm just going on the tops of my cheeks, down my nose, right above my eyebrows, and I'm just giving myself a nice, beautiful glow. Whoa. So that is what my lips look like when I first started to fill them in using Bittersweet by MAC, and I started accidentally overlining and it got a little bit crazy, so I wiped them up and started over. Now I'm just using the color Taupe by MAC, and that's what it looks like, and I felt like it was a little bit too light, so I'm just outlining my lips a little bit with Bittersweet by MAC, and that just gives me a nice mauve nude lip. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this makeup look. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.
Oh, yes, it's all that.